Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to episode 30 of Nariyama's Let's Play Minecraft version 1.12 using Direwolf 20's mod pack. So, in the last episode, basically what we did was we set up the cobbleworks here, right? So we made this cool material stonework factory. It makes cobble and gravel and sand and silicon, and this one makes cobble and stone brick and polished stone, right? And they're chugging away here. We got 2,000 cobblestone already. We're working on 2,000 stone, so you might actually be backstuffed. Weird. Because you shouldn't be accepting any more of this. I wonder what it says our stone level is. 2048. Alright, well. Seems like it's working, so I'm just going to let it work. Oh no, now it's making bricks. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, so this is working pretty well. And what I did between episodes is set up another platform here, almost identical to the one over here. But the only thing I did differently is instead of having a wisp in the center there, I just put a block of glowstone there. Works exactly as well. No big deal there. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical. So if we, there it is. Can't go out the normal way anymore because, yeah, there's rooms there. But now we have two hanging little turrets off of the thing there. I did make, I don't know if I showed this the last time, but I did make a nice little archway. This is the pattern that I'm going to use underneath the causeway here as soon as I can swim in lava safely, which there is a way to do that, and I will show everyone that probably a few episodes from now. So it requires Botania, and I'm thinking after we get the autocrafting set up, I will do a overworld base somewhere, and that's going to be sort of like for mining and for Botania. And we'll set up a Botania setup and get that going. So Botania adds an item that allows you to safely swim in lava. So as soon as I can do that, I will make the little arches for the causeway, and it'll look really nice. Anyway, as opposed to this sort of floating thing that's completely unsupported. Anyway, getting back to today's episode. So today we're going to work on autocrafting. So one of the things that refined storage and applied energistics allows you to do is to automatically craft items that you want to craft. And it allows you to do it both for crafting recipes that are in a grid, or like a crafting grid like this, and for crafting recipes that are processes, like cooking stone from cobblestone, or like getting, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Cooking like a steak from beef, something like that. Those are all process recipes, and there's quite a few of them. And what's interesting about the process recipes is it doesn't have to be like a specific, this goes in this machine and comes out as something else. It can be a process chain that starts with just inserting some goods into something and getting them out the other end. The only thing that matters to the system is that whatever you put in got you the thing that it got out, right? So in other words, well, for example, applied energistics has a series of the like. If you look at refined storage, all of these like processor things, there's an analog in applied energistics, but it takes a fairly involved process to make them. But at the end of the day, all you need is a piece of iron, a piece of silicon, and a piece of redstone. You stick that in, and if you have the machinery set up to put them, to take the items that it's stuck in, like say a chest or something, stick them in the right machines, move them around, get the product out, as long as putting those things in the chest resulted in getting the final product back in the system, it works. And refined storage works the exact same way. So that's something that we can set up for anything that requires a complex process. For example, the Draconic Evolution fusion crafting we can do with refined storage using the process sort of automated crafting kind of thing. All right, so let's get started with this. The things we need to start are a crafter, but since we're going to do this over in that other room, let's set up a network receiver and transmitter again. So we want a network receiver, which is a destruction core, a construction core. Do we have 3? Oh, we do. Good. And the transmitter is going to be those as well. So why don't we do another one? How many of these things do we have left? Ooh, we have exactly enough. I think. We'll see. Network receiver. Oh, I need 2 machine casings. Network receiver. Network transmitter. And I need the network card. Okay. So we're going to go put the receiver over here. And we're going to do basically the same thing that we did before. Why don't we put the receiver like right under that glowstone? Let's go to morph. Oops. We actually don't need that anymore since we have the glowstone. Although if we put a network receiver right there, the glowstone will be hidden, so we don't want to do that. Network receiver, okay. So we're going to put it like right there. All right. Now we click that with the network card, right? And it should say link to that spot. All right, good. Now we're going to come back over here. We're going to dig this up again, go down here where we have our network stuff, I think. Oh, yeah, network stuff. Oh, yeah, well, it's right there. Okay, that's why. But anyway, let's stick the network transmitter right there. Put the network block in it, and or network card in it, and there we go. So we're set up over in the other wing there. We don't have to do that. We could just run the cable underneath the floor here or something like that, or we could run it right through the floor and use cable facades to hide it. I just don't feel like doing that. So there we go. All right. So the next things we're going to need are crafters. So let's make a bunch of these. Crafter. All right. So this is going to need advanced processors, construction cores, destruction cores, and machine casings. So these are fairly expensive. The advanced processors take diamonds. These take the iron and a bunch more iron. So let's make... Ooh. Can I make some more of this quartz enriched iron? I hope. How about 4 stacks? There we go. Some more machine casings. Let's make 4 of them. And then we're going to need some more of those processors. So we need... What does this require? This requires 2 advanced, 2 basic. All right. So to make these, we need the raw processors, which now we have tons and tons and tons of silicon, so that's good. We'll make a stack of those. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the raw advanced processors. All right. And now we just got to cook these up. So there we go. Stick these in here, and we got to wait for those. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to set those crafters over here. Now, a crafter that's just not, that's just sitting against the wall or something like that is going to be used to make the crafting grid recipes. If it were instead pointing at a machine, that's the sort of crafter that you're going to use to make the process recipes. The other thing we're going to put in here is we're going to put a crafting grid and a crafting monitor. I'm thinking right there against the wall. Alternatively, we could put it sort of in the middle of the room. We'll figure it out. Let's see what it would take to make the pattern grid and crafter manager. I'm thinking the pattern grid we're going to want over here. Why don't we see what this would take? Pattern, all right. Easy enough. We need that advanced processor, but I think I have one. What about grid? Nope, I need those basic processors for that. But that's okay, because we have those now. So these are the sort of things that we're going to want to automate as fast as we can, because, adding to the refined storage system is we want that to be as automatic a process as we can. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and make the pattern grid first. So we're gonna, let's do like 16 of these. And the same thing for these. Okay. Do we have all the stuff for that? I think we do. Awesome. So there's a grid. And then there's a pattern grid. Okay, so this is going to let us start setting up patterns to make to place into crafters, right? First, let's make the crafter manager. Ooh, I need 2 crafters for that. No, not yet. Let's make some crafters first. Oh, see, I'm already messing it up. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is good. Let's make, can I make another 4 maybe? I think I have the materials to do that. Okay, good. So let's go over here. Let's stick a couple of crafters down. And we'll go get the crafter manager as well. Crafter manager. There we go. Oh, see, I did it again. By the way, I will make that mistake at least a dozen more times this season, if not more. There's really no way to tell. I mean, I'm sure a very trained eye could tell the crafting grid and the pattern grid apart. I mean, there is a slight difference in the pattern there, but it's really, really subtle. Okay, so let's put the crafter manager on here, and then all we need to do is connect this to the refined storage system. So let's grab our cable. There we go, cable. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it doesn't really matter where we go up, but let's go ahead and go up in the center. There we go. And we should be online. Okay, so sure enough, crafter manager. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crafters. That makes sense. The way I know that is, you know, it's 5 rows, and each of these has 1 row of stuff that they can do. Why did I not turn big? There we go. All right, so now we need patterns. So the first thing we're gonna want to make a pattern for is, guess what? Patterns. So, can I just pull this out? No, okay. So there are a couple of different interface things here. Let me make a couple of patterns to start here. All right. So in this interface, there's the pattern you want to record. So for this case, it's a crafting pattern, right? 3 glass, 3 redstone, and 3 quartz enriched iron. This will show you what it makes, and then what I can do is I can encode that on a blank pattern like this. Now when I do that, notice what it says, 1x pattern, right? If I put a full stack of glass here in each of these, a full stack of redstone and a full stack of quartz enriched iron, it would make 64 patterns, and it would come out as 64x pattern, right? That makes sense. Okay. So now I can take this, and I realize I'm going to be running back and forth here a bit, but that's okay, and stick that in there. Now, at refined, notice how this now says I can craft this item. So if I pull this up and say I want 10 patterns and hit start, it's going to tell me I'm missing a bunch of glass. Well, that's fairly easy to fix. Sand. Smelt up some glass really fast, and this should go. So recall, glass is the one thing we're not making over here. I still haven't set it up so that it'll cook the sand into glass yet. but I will probably do that between episodes. All I'll do is take a redstone furnace and stick it behind all that stuff. And I have an extra redstone furnace already, so if we look at therm, right, we got redstone furnace, I got 2 of them that are extra, so good to go. All right, so we got our glass. Let's stick the glass in the thing. It should have gone over here. Yeah, it did. All right. So let's go back and look at refined storage again. Okay. Pattern. Let's make 10 of them. Now it's going to tell me what all I need to make those, right? 30 redstone, 30 glass, 30 quartz enriched iron, and what it's going to produce. If I hit start, you'll see it start making the patterns. Now, I can speed this process up by putting in speed upgrades in the crafters over there. Generally speaking, I don't do that unless it's something that I really need to craft quickly. Usually the crafting rate's pretty good. But anyway, if I now look, voila, 10 patterns. Perfect. So take those, stick those in here, and let's start looking at some of the other patterns that we want to create, right? So automating the processor creation would be really nice. The drive creation. Ooh, let's automate making more crafters. So what do we need to make a crafter? We need an machine casing, right? So, oops. Let's get the thing for that. Okay. We need a construction core. Let's get the thing for that. We need a destruction core. And we need quartz enriched iron. What else? We also need the advanced processors. I'm not going to do that because that's a processing recipe. That's fine. And we would need the iron ones as well. But again, that's a processing recipe, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. So let's go put these in here. And this is really neat because now, assuming that we have all those basic pieces, which I think we do. Did it not go in? Oh, shoot. I forgot to add the pattern for the crafter. All right. There we go. Like, I swear I just did this. Okay, so now if we look at the refined storage stuff again, we should see the ability to craft a crafter. We hit 1. We'll just do 1, right? It'll say, yep, you have all the stuff that you need. Start. And sure enough, there's another crafter, right? Now, if we ran out of, say, basic processors or advanced processors, so for example, let me say I want to build a stack of these, right? It says it needs 84, but it's missing, it only has 44 available. If it knew how to cook these from the raw processor pieces, right, and it knew how to make the raw basic processors, it would do all of that as well. So as long as it can figure out a way to get the pieces it needs, it'll work, which is really cool. So anyway, that's auto-crafting from the crafter perspective in a nutshell. So why don't we... well, why don't I show how to do this for the machine? So you notice I've been basically, you know, manually feeding into this furnace. Well, let's actually set this up so that it... Oh, that was probably bad. Yeah, that was bad. Oops. You definitely need to be there. Because you had all that cinnabar and the slag and all that stuff. Oops. Here I was getting carried away, picking up my storage crates because I was like, yeah, I don't need these anymore, but I do. All right, so the things we're going to want. We're going to need an importer, first of all. And then we're just going to need a crafter for each of these. So let's see here. Do we need a crafter to go into there? Probably not. So let's import from the bottom and have the crafter come from this side. So we're going to grab this, grab that. Same thing. Okay. Now, when you place a crafter down, that's the face that needs to be facing the machine if you want it to work. So you can just hit it with a wrench to change its direction, right? Let's go ahead and put one crafter on here and one crafter on the pulverizer because we need pulverizer recipes too. Oops. That's the way I want it. And that's the way I want it. Okay. Now what we want to do here is we want to input from the left and we're going to output to the bottom. Similarly, we want to input from the left, output to the bottom. Okay. And now we need two importers. Hey, you know what would be a really good idea? Let's make a recipe for this. So, importer. Oops, that's exporter. Importer. Let's go stick that in a crafter. Now I want to point something out here after we do this, and I connect those other two crafters up. Let's see here. That's probably a safe place to go down. Okay. So, where is... There's the brown corner. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to figure out where you need to put stuff. So there's the furnace. If we come over here, there's the pulverizer, and the crafters are right behind them, right? So there and there. Okay. So let's grab... Oops. What do we need? We need cable and the importers, but we know how to build an importer now, so let's... refined. Let's just order up two of them. Oh, I'm missing the gold processors. Not cool, man. Oops. Okay, well, while we're at it, might as well. And that one. And let's go stick those in a crafter. Oh, we have run out of stuff there. Okay. Now, notice this has 5 rows, right? That's the full one. That's the one that we just started. They all say crafter, right? What will happen is when we connect those two crafters there, those will actually have different names. So let's go ahead and at refined, we want 64 of these. Whoops. We want 64 of these. Start. I'm just going to grab a few of them and get them cooking here in a second. All right. Hook me up. Okay. Come back over here. Stick those in the system and let's make those importers. 2 of them. Perfect. Okay. So now let's go back down underneath here. So we're going to import from the pulverizer and the redstone furnace. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to connect those 2 crafters. Once we do that, I want you to see something that changes in the crafter manager, right? So if we look at this, it has redstone furnace and pulverizer here. Now, by the way, you can add recipes directly to the crafter manager here, so we might want to put one over on the other side there. But what I can do now, check this out. All right. Remember, we couldn't make these. Or we couldn't make the improved processor, the advanced processor, or the basic processor. Now we can. So if we go to here, let's say basic processor, right? It should allow us to do this. Okay. That's not letting us import it. That's okay though. Let's go at refined, right? Let's craft one of these. I guess two of them, sure. All right, so I take this one. Oh, and I check the processing here. Sorry, maybe now it'll work. Maybe you had to have process. Yes, okay, there it goes. So notice I said one raw basic processor turns into one basic processor in a processing sort of craft. I create this. By the way, I'm not selecting or dictionary deliberately, and I'll explain why here in a second. Now I take this and I put this in the redstone furnace. If we go back and request refined, if we take all these out now, notice we can craft this. So I'm going to take the raw processor out too. I'm going to say craft me one of these. So notice what it says. It says I need to craft a raw basic processor first. That takes all of this stuff. Then this will turn into this in the redstone furnace. So start, it makes the thing and it cooks it. And it is that quickly, right? That is just awesome. So now all those recipes that require the basic stuff, or that require processors, we can make automatically, right? So let's add this one. Oops. Not that one. That one. There we go. Advanced processor. There we go. Now, you might be like, Nara, you're doing a whole lot of work here for what seems like not a whole lot of payoff. Okay. For most of the stuff, I was able to just say, hey, I need a stack of this. Hey, I need a stack of that. The next thing I'm going to make is going to illustrate why this is really cool. Okay. First, we need to make sure we have enough resources. So we've got 500 gold. That's plenty. Plenty of iron. Glass. We're going to need more glass. Let me cook up some more glass really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, hey. Why don't I just make it cookable? Duh. Let's make a recipe for glass. Why are you not JI synchronized? Hey, how do I make this? Oh yeah, I smelt it in a furnace. Okay, so here's where the whole or dictionary thing is kind of important, right? I could tell it any sort of sand makes glass, but I really want it to only use that sand. Whoops, I didn't want that. I want one set. There we go. So one sand makes one glass, right? The reason I want this is because I don't want it necessarily using other resources to produce this. So let's go stick that in the redstone furnace. Now we have something that makes glass. Sweet. All right. Yeah. I know I've been hyping this, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the payoff here. At refined. Where's our patterns? We want to make some drives. Right now we have 16K drives, but you know it goes up to 64K, and actually it goes even higher than that if we do the extra refined storage or refined. I don't remember what it's called, but there's another one that basically makes these even bigger. But let's make the stuff for the 64K drives. So let's go ahead and get 64K storage disk. We want this one right here, right? So this is not a processing. 64K storage disk. There we go. Now notice, you don't have to have the stuff already, right? You just need to know the pattern for it. Now that requires a 64K storage part, which requires lots of 16K storage parts, which require even more 4K storage parts. Now, do you see where this is going? So this, to create this 164K drive is actually exponential in nature. You need like 3 stacks of silicon to do it. Um, and the 3 stacks of silicon will make the this pattern. Sorry. Ooh, I need to check that actually. So let's go see what that one is using. Oh, it is using the correct silicon. Okay, that's good. Never mind. So that OR dictionary might have been something we wanted to actually OR dictionary, but that's okay. So quartz enriched redstone, all that stuff. Excellent. Oh, and we need the drive. Where's the drive? There it is. Awesome. Now I'd really like to make 4 of these. So let's do that. At refined. 4 64K things. Now I want you to look at the parts required to do this. We need a ton of coarse enriched iron, which we have 239 iron ingots available. Sweet. We've got a ton of processor bindings. This is going to make like stacks of processors, like 2 stacks of basic processors it's going to make, right? Available 1 to craft 143, so more than 2 stacks. It's going to make almost a stack of advanced processors. It's going to make 16, or sorry, improved processors. It's going to make 16 advanced processors, right? It's going to do all this stuff using up 575 silicon in the process. Oh, by the way, it's going to have to smelt up some glass from sand. But it's going to do all that for us. So let's let it go, right? So we can go over here. We can see things being cooked up, right? And it's going to take a while because, well, quite frankly, we're processing a lot of stuff in here. But if we start looking at refined, oh, one thing you won't see is you won't see the intermediate parts, right? So notice it's not showing a ton of additional like stuff here, but now we have a 64K storage disk. Yay. So if we go over to the crafter manager, it'll tell us what it's trying to do. I think. No. Crafter manager, pattern grid. Oh, crafting monitor is the thing we need. So let's make one of those because that's kind of cool. Crafting monitor. Can I just make that? No. Crafting monitor. Patterns. So, oops. Let's make 3, 4. Start. Start. Hopefully that'll craft up fairly quickly. It might actually use them in the other craft, so let's just grab 1, 2, 3, 4 of these ourselves, and we'll go use the alloy smelter because it'll work. There we go. Okay. Stick these in here. What was the other thing you needed? Crafting monitor, just some patterns. Okay. Oh wow, we're out of quartz enriched iron. Yeah. Let's go ahead and make another stack of that. Cool. Crafting monitor. Really? Really, really. What are you missing? Glass. Nice. There we go. Okay. Crafting monitor. All right, we got our crafting monitor. Let's throw that here. And it will show us what's currently going on, right? So it's like, you know, hey, I need to make this stuff, but the machine didn't accept the item because it's full of stuff already, right? So that's kind of what it's complaining about there. It will keep trying. So you notice it's like, hey, you know, I'm making this thing. All right, it's getting there. Still making more improved processors because it needs a lot of those, right? So here's the stuff that it's stored. Here's, you know, what it's crafting. Here's another thing that's crafting, right? And basically it's just showing you all the things that it's attempting to do. And if we go to refined, we'll see we've made 2 more 64K storage disks. And if we wait just a little bit longer, we'll get the last one, and all this will be done. Now, could I have made this faster simply by, making sure that I had all the available materials on hand and, going through and just making the stuff in the numbers that I needed? Probably. But what's really nice is that I didn't have to worry about having the materials on hand. I just had to have the basic raw materials, right? The iron, the redstone, the glass, the silicon, right? All like the basic raw materials I had to have. But then I could just say, hey, I want 4 of these things, and it made them. So very cool. And, now we have storage for days. Because these things are huge. Oops. There we go. So now we have a drive full of storage disks. We can store 320,000 items. And remember, that's only the stuff that's not getting put in here. So cool. Okay, so we're not crafting anything at the moment. Our pattern grid is good. We've made a crafter manager. We did make a fluid grid, but we did make the pattern grid. We don't need that. Don't need patterns, don't need crafters. Awesome. So the other thing I put in here was the fluid grid. You can store fluids in the refined storage system. I think we're going to kind of pass on that for today. We've definitely made some excellent progress. I think I might check to see how much iron I have in here and gold. So we do use quite a bit of iron, quite a bit of gold for refined storage. So let's see, iron ore. Yeah, you can see like I've only got a little bit of iron at this point. I got a fair bit of gold though. So why don't we throw that in here. That'll start cooking up. All right. So this is awesome. This is basically getting us sort of into the later parts of the mid game, because now we can set up automated crafting of basically anything we want. If it requires, like machines to process as part of the crafting, then we can stick, crafters on those machines and good to go. Like for example, the stuff that needs plates, right? We could stick a crafter on the compactor here, and it could make plates for us. Similarly, if we put another compactor out that had a die cat or a gear die, we could make the gears in that machine, right? And so all those things that we are constantly needing to craft by hand, like the thermal upgrades, right? So all of these upgrade kits we could basically make recipes for. And then what's interesting is there's a resonant conversion kit, which basically takes a basic machine all the way to resonant. And what it takes is, all 4 of the other upgrade kits, right? So we create recipes to craft all of these, some of which require fairly interesting, convoluted pieces, like the cryothium or the pyrotheum stuff. Hardened glass in the induction smelter. All that can be automated. And so the next time we say, hey, I need this thermal machine and I'd like it to be resonant, click on the resonant upgrade and poof, you get it, right? So convenient. Anyway, that's kind of where we're headed right now. I'll go ahead and replace that. Anything else I need to clean up? Doesn't look like it. But I think, like I said, the next episode, I think we're going to go and make some overworld farming kinds of progress, because there are some crops that we're going to want to automate. Specifically, when you look at that refined storage thing, if you look at these recipes. Oh, sorry, not that. Cancel. So I have a bunch of processor binding, but I haven't put a recipe in there for it because it takes string and some kind of slime ball. Now, I could use a slime ball that comes from a critter, but I would have to automate spawning that critter, and what I could use instead is rice. So I think that's what we're going to do is use some rice. So that's one of the crops we're going to grow. There are a couple ways we could do it. We could use Immersive Engineering's cloche to grow it very quickly and sort of on demand. Or we could do something like the tree farm where we just plant the crops and it harvests them as they grow. Either works. I think we might go the immersive engineering route, so I'm kind of thinking of making a completely self-sufficient overworld base that uses the immersive engineering diesel generation for power, and then the cloches to both grow the stuff for the diesel generator and grow the other crops that we want, and then have those deposited into the system. So I think that's where we're going for the next couple of episodes. It is episode 30, so pretty big milestone for me, at least. This is a month of uploading videos for Minecraft to YouTube, so I'm pretty stoked. I hope you guys are really enjoying the episode, the series, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of how to sort of automate all the things with refined storage. We'll get into some pretty complex builds with the automation here as we get into some of the other mods. Some of them can get pretty convoluted. Particular Botania automation can be pretty interesting. So we'll have to figure out how we want to do that. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next episode. Back to the overworld. Bye.